In this video, I am going to explain about the eBGP neighborship with Loopback Interface. Actually, we have two methods for this configuration. In this video, we will learn about the first method. In the next video, we will learn about the second method. As you can see here, we have two routers, router 1 and router 2. Router 1 is residing in the AS1 and router 2 in AS2. And also we have two loopback interface on these two routers. On router 1 loopback 0 with the IP address of quad 1/32. In router 2 quad 2/32. And I want to configure neighborship, eBGP neighborship between them with loopback interfaces. The first thing that you need is to have connectivity between the loopback 0 of router 1 and loopback 0 of router 2. As you can see, they are not connected, and you need to configure, for example, static routing between router 1 and router 2, or dynamic routing protocol between them, for example, one IGP, like EIGRP, OSPF, or some other things. And after that, when these two loopback can reach to each other, you can configure eBGP neighborship. As you can see here in the router 1, now when you use ping command to quad 2, okay, with the source of loopback 0, we will not have connectivity. Look at here, source, then for example, loopback 0. As you can see, we don't have connectivity. I want to configure a static route in router 1 and also in router 2, then we can start configuration of eBGP neighborship. In router 1, we need to configure IP route quad 2/32 or quad 255, and the next hop is 10.1.2.2, the first line, and after that the second static route, IP route quad 255 10.2.1.2. Why? Because I want to use both of these two links. Okay, in the router 1, we need to configure these commands: IP route, then quad 255, the next hop is 10.1.2.2. After that, the next IP route quad 2, again quad 255, and after that 10.2.1.2. That's it. This is the two static, these are the two static routes that we have here. Show IP route static in router 1 can show us that we have these two static routes. Then we need to configure similar commands on the router 2, IP route to quad 1, then quad 255. After that, the next hop is 10.1.2.1, and then IP route quad 1, quad 255, and after that the next hop is 10.2.1.1. and now we expect to have connectivity between these two loopback address, ping quad 2, and then a source is for example loopback 0. As you can see, we have connectivity. Now you can configure BGP neighborship. In router 1, you can start with this command, router BGP, then AS number. AS number is 1, router BGP 1. The neighbor command should configure with the actually quad 2, okay, neighbor, and after that neighbor quad 2, and after that remote AS number is 2. You know that you should configure the next command, neighbor quad 2 update source loopback 0, because we want to establish neighborship, or actually BGP message or TCP message with the source of IP address of the loopback 0 of router 1. Because of that, you need to configure this command, neighbor quad 2, and after that update source loopback 0. That's it. And finally, because they are not connected to each other, you need to configure neighbor quad 2 eBGP multi-hop 2. I have explained these topics in the course. Here we are only trying to configure the scenario. Neighbor quad 2 eBGP multi-hop. After that, you can define the TTL. The TTL should be a value that these two loopback address reach to each other. For example, here 2 is sufficient. Okay, neighbor quad 2 eBGP multi-hop 2. This is the configuration we need. Don't forget, this command is the method 1, but we have other commands that I will explain it in the next video. And after that, in the router 2 also, we need to configure similar commands, router BGP 2, and then neighbor command, neighbor quad 1, okay, remote AS, and remote AS is 1, again, neighbor quad 1, and after that, update source loopback 0, and finally neighbor command to quad 1, and then eBGP multi-hop, for example, 2. After some second, you will see that we have neighborship between the quad 1 and quad 2. As you can see, neighbor quad 1 is up. Also in the router 1, neighbor quad 2 is up. Because of that, show IP BGP summary, okay, can show us that we have neighborship with the quad 2. You know that if one of these links is available, okay, the neighborship will be up. But if both of these two links will fail, okay, the neighborship will fail also. Neighbor quad 2, as you can see here, and also in the router 1, show IP BGP summary, or if you want, you can use the newer version of this command, show BGP IPv4 unicast summary, as I explained before. We have neighborship. If you want, you can use the show IP BGP neighbors command. Let me to show you show IP BGP neighbors. Okay, as you can see here, BGP neighbor is quad 2, remote AS is 2, external link, and BGP version 4, remote router ID, quad 2, and some other useful, for example, information.